always forget to record. Okay, so now we're recording. I did have a question from someone asking if I would share just briefly about the National Health Science Conference that's coming up next week. And we are pleased that 3B Scientific will be an exhibitor there. And if you have not yet, you will be receiving an email, an invite to our orientation, which will be Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern time. And so that will be an opportunity for those of you who are planning to attend the conference to hear from the tech support team about what the platform looks like, how you log in, what you can expect, give you an opportunity to ask questions so that on the day that the conference kicks off on Tuesday at 5 p.m., you aren't worried about whether you're in and if you're doing, if you're where you need to be. You'll get an email, I think Friday with the login information. You'll also get a certificate of participation where you can track all the workshops that you watch throughout the month. Remember, we have 9 hours of live content that will also be recorded and pushed to live. So if you aren't able to attend Tuesday through Friday from 5 to 7 each evening, and then Saturday morning from 12 to 1, then you can still pick up that content because it'll be recorded and there on the platform for you. The 50 breakout sessions that we would have if we were face-to-face, they're all recorded and they'll all be there for 1 month for you to access, for you to watch at your leisure, for you to pick and choose the ones that speak to you as a teacher. So with that, if there are other questions that I can answer for you, you're welcome to email me. I'll put my email in the chat if you don't already have that tattooed somewhere. And then we'll take some questions at the end. So John, take it away. I'll let you introduce anyone that might be working with you and just tell us a little bit about all the good work that you all do with 3B Scientific.
I appreciate that, Nancy. Thank you so very much. My name is John S. Lannis, and I work for 3B Scientific. I do have my partner on here, Tim Hemans. He also works for 3B. He's going to help maybe monitor chat or just help if I've missed anything really in general. I'm pleased to say that we're partnering with Jim Scott. He's on with us today as well. He's going to be maybe just on the front end of this. Jim runs the Ohio HOSTA. I live in Ohio here. And so I'm going to talk about that second. 3B Scientific. We are a global company, but our headquarters here in the United States is actually in Atlanta. That's where Tim is. And so I work in the Midwest. I have taken what I feel is a great partnership with the Ohio HOSA. And the reason why I've invited Jim and Nancy and Jim know each other for some time now. We're just excited to talk to you about what we have today for Smart Anatomy. And Smart Anatomy, everything I'm about to talk to you about comes free with the purchase of our models. So you're probably familiar with us from the company, from our anatomical models. I was at the show last year. I believe we were in St. Louis. Tim was at one of the conferences earlier this year. I believe it was in Las Vegas. So we really love partnering with you. Our goal is just to listen to what your needs are in the marketplace, and hopefully we can do something to bring more back. I strongly feel, I know Smart Anatomy is going to do that for you. I'm really excited to share. And really, ultimately, it's super simple. It's going to be an app that we're going to explore. It's free content for you and your students, and it's a free warranty upgrade. That's it. I'm going to ask Jim maybe if he can lean in just for a second and give us an idea maybe of what some of the teachers in Ohio and what some of the feedback that they're getting because of the partnership we have with them. And then I'm going to go ahead and take over and just show you how it works and all the really cool features that come with it.
Hey, thanks so much, John. And Tim, good to see you again. And Nancy, thanks for allowing me to be a part of your Wednesday webinar. One of the things that John and I have been working on, and I really think the value that you as an instructor would receive is tremendous. And I'll share some reasons why here in a moment. And then also for your students. And I'm probably still a little bit of John's thunder, but I know when I first heard it, I had to ask him 2 or 3 times to make sure I heard it right. So, because it just sounded almost too good to be true. But one of the things that I think many of you are probably facing is this whole new method of teaching. Some of you are on site, some of you may be virtual, some of you may be blended. I know there's some schools in Ohio where they're having half the students half the week, but while the other ones are at home, the teacher is also responsible for providing different instruction to them. So I don't know how you as an instructor can teach two different things at the same time. So in our partnership, one of the things we came up with through 3B are these models. And so we chose this year to use the HEART model as our starting point. And every teacher signed up for our fall leadership conference that we have in Ohio, received the HEART model, or if they had a veterinary program, they could get a feline hip. And with that, what's really neat is it provides the instructor with lesson plans that they can use in the classroom, or they can say to the student, I mean, I'm thinking as an instructor now, what if my students had this? I could tell them, please review this lesson and we'll discuss it tomorrow, virtually or in person. And the nice thing, and I always get my numbers mixed up, but I believe there's 23 lessons, 47 quizzes on there that students can do. And I'm saying, well, I know many times administrators and states are saying, we want accountability. How do we know your students are learning? So with these quizzes, these are things where students can take the quiz, come back, retake it. So you can set a standard, like you want every student to achieve a 90% average. And you say, take the quiz, see what you know. Now let me do the instruction, and then I can measure your growth from where you were to where you are. So it's a neat tool that you can use that way. The other benefit is for an instructor, I can just remember when we were all told we're going virtual and how teachers were stressed out saying, how am I going to do all these lessons? How am I going to, here's a tool that has the lesson done for you that you can then refer to and have students work on. The other benefit is those students you have, let's say they're 12th graders, they have access to that information for 5 years. So they can keep taking it even when they're in college, post-secondary, or in the workforce. If they're 9th graders, they have access for 5 years. Again, they can use it for all 4 years that they're in your program, plus a year out. And it costs them nothing. So the fee is what you pay. And I encouraged our teachers to use it as an educational fee, so students didn't have to pay for the model. And so that way the teacher received it. And the nice thing on it, and I know John will have his model there, but on the model, there's a barcode. And you simply take a picture of that barcode, send it to all your students to their phones or their iPads or computers, and they have access to exactly what you have. So again, you can set that assignment. Hey, would you work on this? Or you can reinforce what you're teaching. So I've taught you this particular area. Now I want you to reinforce it by watching this short video or a presentation that's there. So I just think, coming back to our teachers, it's a blessing that's going to help them. They've received their HEART models this past week. And in fact, I had one come here, where's my HEART model? And I told her where I sent it. She goes, I just got it. So the A3B is really quick. But the nice thing is, I know when I'm using new software, sometimes I'm concerned I don't understand it well. So all I have to do is I can call John and say, John, can you work with this teacher? Or the teacher can call and say, hey, I'm trying to get through this. I don't understand. And 3B will be there, whether it be Tim or John, will be there to support you and your students. So I just find it to be a tremendous tool that's going to benefit and grow our programs. So my goal now, and I was talking to Tim and John yesterday, I believe, that at our state leadership conference coming up in the spring, I'm looking at a way to add that into our registration. So then again, the teacher would not get a HEART, but they may get another part. And eventually what we want to do is give them more models so they have tools to supply their classroom instruction. I know many of you may have models already in your school, but the nice thing about this series is it has lessons to go with it. It's just not a skeleton. It actually has lessons to help you on getting your students to that level. So I just think it was a godsend. I had a connection with John that he reached out and we got together and talked about it, and it made perfect sense. So I don't know if you have any questions for me, but if I can try to answer any. I see there's a couple things in chat. I'll see if, um, yeah, but if there's anything that you have, John and Tim will definitely be able to answer it.
Yeah, sure. We'll certainly jump in. Jim, I will send you the check for that endorsement there. That was, I mean, thank you so much. I don't know what to say. Having you on has been amazing. So I just want to go ahead and piece it all together. And Jim, thank you for your time. I know you have another meeting to jump onto in a little bit, so can't be here. So thank you so much. It means a lot to us and everyone. So we've got a lot of excitement. We've been drumming up a lot of things. So let's, like, what is it, right? So feel free, continue to jump in the chat. I know someone posted free is our favorite word. So let's just talk about it, right? I apologize. I don't have my model with me. I had to move to my other remote location in here, in the major office, and I accidentally left it on my other desk. But we're going to go ahead and talk through this. It's going to be a lot of fun. So what is Smart Anatomy? Jim said there's courses and videos and all kinds of stuff. So let's get into it. When you purchase a 3B model, right? So you purchase one from us. We've got hundreds of them. We've been making them since the 40s. But last year we came out with this. That really the goal was, how can we put technology with these great models that we have? And this is exactly what this is. So as we said, free digital anatomy course is included with the purchase. Now we're going to get into those 23 lectures, 117 virtual models, and 39 quizzes. So we're going to talk about in a second, but that's exclusive content that's just for folks who buy our models, okay? If you think about it for a second, imagine if everyone, I think, pretty much knows what Netflix is. Imagine if inside Netflix, you had exclusive content that you can't buy if you just went and bought Netflix, okay? So we're going to talk about that in a second, it'll make more sense here. And the reason why I'm saying that, because it's hosted inside Complete Anatomy, we're going to go through that, but it's an app in the App Store, Microsoft, Apple Store, wherever. It works on both Droid and Apple products. And then each model does include and can be used with an unlimited amount of users. So I'm going to give you that a couple of times. This is really the thing where Jim has been saying, like, okay, please say more, help me understand. I'm not joking. You as an instructor, you get some funds, you buy a full-size skeleton, as Jim said, a heart, hand, leg, whatever you need. It'll come with this. It's going to have either, they'll come on a base, there'll be a code on the base, or more importantly, in the box, there'll be a card. You can actually take a picture of that card and email it to your students, and everyone can do the same registration that we're doing. So the cool thing is, we're going to go through the registration process, and you can absolutely use this recording for your future needs. So we're going to go through some best practices and some fun. And then my favorite part, really the hidden gem here, is that when you do the registration, all you have to do is just indicate you're a user, and you just bump your warranty up for free from 3 years to 5 years. All of our models have a serial number, so pretty easy to track, and it's from the day that you register the item. So that's the highlight. We're going to go through each one of these here in just a moment. So the registration process, like I say, it's really simple. You're going to get your model. It's going to be in a box. That box is going to have your model. It's going to be on a stand, or it's going to have a hang tag, right? So we have some, I can think of some of our full-size skeletons that hang, so you'll have a hang tag you can use. You're going to take out your phone, and all you have to do is open, I'm going to go ahead and believe that everyone has an iPhone, because I used to work at Apple, so I feel like everyone should. But if you have your Droid, same thing. Open up your camera, and all you have to do is hold it over it. In most cases, it'll just pop up and say, do you want to scan 3B? You tap on it, and sure enough, what happens, right? You get to the next screen on your phone, ask if you want to register and activate your warranty. If you're working with your purchasing department, right? So some of our folks are out there, and what they wind up doing is they might order, 8 or 10, if they're ordering for a new potential classroom or things like that. We're going to show you how to register multiple units. So you can work with your purchasing department to do that. But my real recommendation is, if you're going to be the end user and you're ordering multiple, I would go ahead and register them yourselves and make sure that you know that they've been done correctly. So pretty simple. It does, when you scan, you can either, if you accidentally tap off on the section we just saw, there's a whole area here for download the Complete Anatomy app. When you click on the product registration, all roads come back to the product registration. So you just tap on that. As I mentioned, all of our models come with a serial number, right? So the serial number is preloaded because of the QR code that you scanned. Let's jump in here. Yeah, sorry, someone said bless those dedicated to flip phone users. So yeah, sorry, I just want to make sure I'm answering all these. And some teachers have flip phones at my school. Okay, not a problem. You can go to our website and just register straight from there. It'll be very similar experience, so don't feel like you're left in the cold if you still have your, what was that phone? Oh God, Jitterbug, was that what that was? A flip phone? I don't know, I'm just throwing that out there. I'm spitballing right now, sorry. So anyways, back to this. You scan, we preloads the serial number, and then very simple, just like you'd register a lot of things. Some of this will be familiar and some I just want to identify real quick. So if you come back to this recording in a couple of weeks or a couple of months, this will be ready for you. Do you own the product? If you want to say you're an owner, that's how you go the path of registering for the warranty. But for your students, you want to let them all say, no, I'm a user, right? So your students, you just want to have them have the same access you're having. So pretty simple there. And then first name, last name. Sorry, let me jump back in. First name, last name, email address, just like anything you would normally register. It's up to you as an instructor. Do you want to use one of their school or do you want the students to have their own? I'll pause for a second. This is a 1-year membership. So it's completely up to you. If you only have students for maybe the first 6 months, the 1 semester, and then they move on, that's up to you to let them use whatever email address that works best for them. 366 days from the day they register, they can come back and scan that same code, or hopefully you've purchased a new model or acquired a new model, through some of the other programs, and they can scan a new one. So they can keep scanning and they still have unlimited access for 1 full year. For everything we're seeing, you as an instructor will have exactly the same access as them. Okay, back to the registration. Again, pretty simple, name, phone number. One of these areas does ask you, is it a professional use or private use? Honestly, it doesn't really matter much. If you want to identify your facility, you can. If you want to say it's private use for the student, that's cool too. This is really more for, our information about who's out there using it. City, county, and country. Again, I identified we are a global company, so we actually have this on all of our models all throughout the world. So now, I identified earlier that if you happen to have multiple products, this is actually where you would click in addition and register those additional products. But you just go ahead and click submit. And now this is where you can hit the download free Complete Anatomy app. You'll get an email in your account that says, thank you for registering. So you can go ahead and click on that. Or when you download the app, you'll see, finally, we're here, we're at the app, right? So this is what it looks like in the App Store. Again, you can use this on the Microsoft side, on the Droid side, and just go to the App Stores there as well. But a pause for a second, let you understand how cool I think this is, right? Remember earlier I said you can use this on your phone. Well, you can actually use this on your ecosystem, right? That was something we used to talk about at Apple. We assumed that everyone would have potentially a phone, a tablet, and a computer. Now, that experience will be alike across those things, meaning that you can register in 3 devices and make sure that you have the same exact experience. The desktop experience, which is actually what you're about to experience, because we're going to dive into it, is not any different than the iOS or the phone versions. Okay, so I just want to make sure that's clear too. It's not like, hey, it looks one version on my phone and a different version on my computer. Actually, no. Whenever you just make sure you do your updates, another Apple tip, just make sure you do your phone updates and you can make sure you have the latest version. That's really it. This is my information if you need it. Okay, so let's get out of this and let's get into share. Here we go. Okay, so if you're on your phone or you're on your computer, when you launch the app, this is exactly what you're going to see. The cool thing is, for the first 3 days you have the app, you're going to have all of the access to Complete Anatomy, right? That's the name of the app. So I'm just going to pause for another second. 3B Scientifics came to Complete Anatomy and said, you have an amazing app. It was an award-winning app, I believe in 2018. We came to them early 2019 and said, we would love to put our technology or work with you and partner with you and put our products and partner with you. So when I said there's exclusive content only within inside this app, I'm about to show you how you get there, what it looks like. So after 3 days, you're going to experience what I'm about to show you, and you'll have that for the other 362 days. So we said that there were courses and videos and things like that. Let me just jump on that chat. I think I saw someone jump on. Access to content is for 1 year. Yes, thank you, Tim, for jumping in there. I also thought it said that student could access for 5 years. So yes, what I think when you're hearing multiple years, I think what Jim was saying ultimately is, hey, if I was emailed the card that has the QR code in it, I could ultimately, go from, my freshman year through my senior year, and I could keep scanning it year after year as I need it. It's not a full 5-year license. It's just that the end user will just have to go ahead and register when their year expires. So the great news, remember when I said it's unlimited, it's not just unlimited by users for the year, it's really unlimited until the end users decide not to use it or register anymore. So 5 is just really a number that Jim was really comfortable with because some of the students might go 4 or 5 years and they might use it in their upper education. We've got plenty of nursing programs and CTE programs that we partner with that use this as well. So just want to make sure I answered those questions. Okay, back to the app. There are different things you can do. Now, remember on your iOS device, you're going to have some touch screens and things like that. That's really the user experience different than what we're going to see on the laptop experience. There's a ton of fun things that you can do in the models in the first 3 days when you have Complete Anatomy, but ultimately I'm going to only talk about Smart Anatomy. So what you want to do is just tap on the courses. This is where you're going to get to the bucket, the area, the exclusive area. It's called the 3B Smart Anatomy on the left. If you decide you want to upgrade, you can do all that, but we all know that there's in-app purchases with things like that. So it tells me I have my 23 lectures. I'm going to go ahead and click on this. Oops. And we're going to open up all the content that we have for free. I'm going to go through one of the courses. I'm going to go through one of the quizzes real quick, and then we're going to kind of talk about best practices, right? So what you're seeing on the screen are our lectures, right? So as you can tell, there's some percentages. I've gone through some things. I've got the check mark. So it kind of just tells me some progress that I've made. There's actually some information. So if I go to urology, right, it'll give me what I can do. Remember, I have to have access to my internet to kind of gain access to this, but I can also download some of these things so I can have them available for me. I can study at any time. So I'd strongly recommend for anybody who needs this, and Tim, I'm going to ask you to do me a homework assignment. Let's email, or at least remind me, we'll email Nancy so she can send out to all the users today a picture of the card so they can experience today or tomorrow or however soon they like to go ahead and download the app and explore it themselves. I would strongly recommend that you do that so that you know, hey, what you need. And obviously as you're purchasing your models, you can use those cards or the QR codes as you get them. And the reason why I say you should come here is because I think you should do exactly what I'm about to do, but do them in multiple or all 23. So let me go ahead, maybe let's go into the spine because we haven't had a chance to explore that yet with any of my other webinars. So when I open up the spine lecture, I'm going to see a couple of things on my left-hand side. I see what looks like a bookmark. Looks like I have 4 different sections of this lecture. And then on the 5th one, I see a Q. Now the Q just lets me know that's where the quiz is. Some of the lectures have multiple units, and then they actually might have multiple quizzes. So let's just go ahead and jump into the first one. Or I can hit play here. It's really, some roads will take you to the same place. So let's hit play. I can download it if I want, but right now I'm just going to leverage my internet and have some fun with this. So what's really cool about this, whether I'm using my computer or my touchscreen, is that I can go ahead and interact with this, this model. I can actually spin it in any direction that I like. I can tap on sections. It's going to give me some information on the left-hand side. So I'm going to start to interact and understand what this lecture is. Please don't, or I should set an expectation rather, that there's not going to be someone that's going to be giving a lecture or things like that. This is a self-paced lecture for people to explore and understand. And so as I can click on the name, it'll take me directly there, or I can click on any part of the section that I'm in, and it'll take me there directly there as well, right? So if I clicked on, can I click on the coccyx? Yeah, here we go. So, you know, this gives you an ability to really interact with different parts of the anatomy. And of course, I think you saw me zooming in and zooming out, and really explore. So this is some really cool stuff. Now this is again inside the spine section. So this is how I'm getting detailed to it, but this is how I can explore with it, right? So now we're going to the spine and ribs, pelvis. I can start to identify cervical vertebrae, the sacrum, the coccyx. I can, again, spin and explore. I can really tap on any section of the anatomy and really get the information I'm looking for. So this is going to take me through here. Again, I recommend that you just, whatever works for you in your program, this is where you're going to assign maybe some of those lectures. I'm going to keep moving through here because, again, I want you to feel comfortable about what this looks like. It's really just to get you familiar with, you know, what does the anatomy look like? How interactive is it? And how can I potentially use this for my students? Again, all free content, right? That's the crazy part, obviously with the purchase, but the fact that you and all your students can do this is quite amazing and fun. Now, I've gone through the 4 lectures, a bit rapid fire because I'm appreciative of your time and no one wants to hear me speak any more words than I need to. Now, I have, I believe my quiz on the right-hand side here, and I need to collapse this because I got a screen open. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so if you've noticed about the quiz, I got something up here. It's being timed, right? About every quiz, every question is about a minute. I've got a multiple choice. I didn't study very hard, so I'm gonna start clicking on some answers and hitting submit. I gotta move this, here we go. It's gonna ask me the questions that's be related to what I see on the screen. And in this particular case, there's about 15 questions. So I'm gonna do my best to get through here. If you all have any questions, feel free to throw some in chat. Now, why don't we do a best practice while we're answering some questions. So the first best practice is don't do what I'm doing now, because this is probably how I answered questions when I was in high school. I wasn't a very good student. Not until I got to college and I was paying for it did I realize, wow, I should probably pay attention. Best practice though here is, as Jim mentioned, over the last year, I've been able to explore and work with a lot of teachers across the country. The thing that I found fun is that because everyone gets access to the same thing, the best way to identify how the students finish their quizzes is at the very end, there's going to show me the score. That's where, if they're using their portable devices or their laptops, they can actually do a screen grab, right? So that would be one way that the student, they could then email you and say, hey, this is how I performed on this quiz for this lecture. So that would be a best practice you want to be thinking about. And that maybe, I know it might be a tiny bit of additional work. Look, I have some instructors that say they use this for extra credit. Some instructors that say they use some of these features for, for their off instruction. Here in Ohio, my 2 children are doing the hybrid model. So, they go Tuesday, Thursday. Next week they do Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. And so on their off days, it's not uncommon that some of the teachers are using some of these, to leverage some of their off days, depending on the materials. So the cool thing is, again, I could do a screen grab of this. It's slightly encouraging by telling me it's not bad, but 3 out of 15 we know isn't great. I can go in and check my answers, right? So this does give me the ability to learn, right? This is really what we want, right? It's not about whether, how they performed. We want them to give them as much ability to learn on their time as possible. And since they're going to have 24/7 access to this, this is how it's going to help them. And so we've got a lot of great feedback on how this can work. I'm just going to go ahead and finish this section, but I think you get a good sense of what that looks like. it gives me a nice lecture complete area. So we've gone through, one of the lectures. We've gone through one of the quizzes. Again, there's 23 lectures, and inside each lecture, there are multiple sections and multiple models. So one other thing I'm going to kind of jump back into is some of the other areas that you can explore if you like. Okay, again, Smart Anatomy section is here. This is where you want to live. This is where you want everyone to go. There are areas that you can go to, but I want everyone to be thinking about this first, right? So I can click on the model section or the video section, understand all of those things in these other buckets are really going to be pulled from the sections of Smart Anatomy. So if, for example, I click on the models, I can assign some of these models to my students if I like. Let's go ahead and maybe click on full body. And the cool thing is, it's showing me the full skeleton. I can interact, as you can tell, moving around all that I like. And I'm going to go ahead and zoom in. Let's go ahead on this one, try to get to the clavicle. If I can drag this down correctly and click on it. Now, if I click on this, if you notice on the left-hand side, this is one of the coolest things I really like when you're exploring some of the models, is I can click on these additional features. It'll tell me different things like cross sections and whatnot. Move this over a touch. Let me go back to info. Also, there's a button up here. I don't know if you're going to be able to hear this. I'm going to try to play it anyways. It's telling me the right way to pronounce this. Now, is there nothing bigger than the ability to know how to pronounce something accurately? Clearly clavicle is an easy one for also remember, but honestly, there are so many parts of the body that as you're learning, this gives them a very specific way to start learning. What I would do is also you can come on in and you can do anterior, posterior, lateral. There's tons of ways to explore. Thank you for anyone who's thrown a shout out at me at knowing I fractured my clavicle. So that's kind of one of the reasons why this would take some getting to know the program time. I think that's from Barbara. Understood, Barbara. That's the reason why I want you to get in and you to explore as an instructor and go, what would work for me? And how would it work for me? And then maybe as I'm thinking, maybe it's next semester, but how can this work for me? This is where you as the instructor, you're gonna have to jump in and really dive in and just say, okay, how can I assign these? How would this work? But again, if you're already purchasing a model, why not grab this and use this as you need it in the future? And again, it's not relative. Like I don't get certain access points to certain sections because I bought a heart and then other sections because I bought a skeleton. All of the access to Smart Anatomy is exactly the same, whether you buy, a full, a knee or a heart, none of that matters. You get the same exact access in Smart Anatomy. So this will always be available to you. And then you can maybe start to build, right? Because as much as COVID has been a challenge for us, and as Jim has identified, this new method of learning, eventually there's going to be a new normal, and that new normal is going to be this hybrid model, and then eventually, we're going to be back in classroom and some other versions of it, but hands-on will always be critical, right? Having the ability to touch and feel the skeletons or be in front of the sections of the anatomy, that's huge. If you're someone like me and someone like a lot of the students out there, the reason why I wasn't so good at school when I was younger is because I couldn't find the right way. I'm a right brain thinker, right? I can't just look at a screen and read a tree of knowledge and just be and absorb it. I have to interact. If I had something like this when I was a student, man, I have a feeling that I'd be way more interactive. I'd be able to click and learn on my own, and I could activate, my right brain thinking because now I have something that I can really interact with. And then when I go to class and I'm in front of it, man, what a great way to interact all those features. That's really where I get excited because I hear so much great feedback from teachers that are saying this is what helps them. Let me jump on any other additional chats. Yep, Tim, thank you. How much are the models? Honestly, the heart models, you can get into them for $80, $90. I think some of they're about $75 you can start with. Clearly, they can go all the way up. Our full-size skeletons with all the ligaments and musculature and stuff like that, can get up to about $1,000. Just depends on what you need. So that's completely up to you. Again, we can send a virtual link or a link to our website. Obviously, we have some catalogs we can send out for anybody. So feel free to put those requests in. we're actually absolutely happy to help out with whatever you need. And then most importantly, because of the program we have here, we want to make sure we can identify that you're buying from here, because there are different prices. If you just called up 3B and said, hey, I'm ordering from my school, you might get the list price, but we want to make sure, because through the program that you're going to get special pricing, and Tim can easily talk you through all that. So back to this, I want to make sure I was answering those other chat features. So this is really the nuts and bolts, everything we've kind of talked about with respect to Smart Anatomy. Again, those courses, that's where you're going to land. The models we were really just in, and I can actually go, my home screen or restore my previous one. This will take me through here. When you have the first 3 days of Complete Anatomy, you're going to have access to all the additional systems. In this particular case with Smart Anatomy, you're going to have the skeletal system and the connective tissue system, and you have complete access to those. And so outside of the lecture section, your students would be able to learn these sections as well. So just letting there is additional content, but you always want to kind of live and breathe inside that courses section. And I apologize if I'm jumping around too much, just want to land the plane on this whole Smart Anatomy section and how you find it. Because it's easy to click on the wrong thing and then think, wow, how do I get there? Okay, what is the most popular model? That's a tough question. Really, I would tell you that our full-size skeletons probably 2 to 1, 3 to 1. That's a big one because you have the full skeleton, right? But some of the hand, heart, lung models. I mean, we've got hundreds of types of models. I have to submit a PO, and then some of the district orders. Is there a way to get special pricing without actually ordering myself? Yeah, I mean, all you have to do is identify that you're ordering through the program and CHSE, and we just make sure we can apply the appropriate discount. And Tim, maybe we can just do a follow-up with Nancy, and we can do that. Tim's just sending out emails right now. So feel free to check out the chat feature. If you have any questions, please email Tim, and he's going to help you out with everything you need. We can supply you with quotes, make sure you get everything you're looking for. Do you get the only lessons that match the models you purchase? No, okay, just as a reminder, everything in Smart Anatomy, the 23 lectures, 117 models, 39 quizzes, does not matter what you buy. So you buy a hand, you get that. You buy the full skeleton, you get that. You buy, the left foot, you always get the same type of Smart Anatomy. That's a great question. Why it's important to know that when you buy those different features is that when you scan and register, this is the big thing, right? There is a serial number, and that serial number is important because you want to register to get, move your 3-year warranty to 5 full years, so that any, wear and tear or manufacturer defects are covered. Our products last for dozens of years. I've had plenty of programs tell me, I've had your products 10, 15 years. Honestly, they're still hold strong. So, we try to make sure that we can help them round out maybe any additional needs that they have. So hopefully that helps. And let me see if there's any other chat. Yep, all content comes with all model purchases, right? Again, everything that we showed comes with the purchase of the model. So if you're already looking for a model, this is just going to give you all that extra bang for your buck. And I think I hit every single one of the best practices. How are they clean for longevity? Great question. You know what? That's a great question. Honestly, you can just use a wet sponge or a wet rag if you have to. We recommend very, very, very mild soap, but because you got to be careful, some of the models will actually have they're hand painted. So you want to make sure you're not rubbing those off, or there's some identification points on some of the models. So we want to make sure that we're not wiping those off as well. So from a COVID standpoint, we recommend warm water and a sponge, or a very clean rag. So that's a great question. Do not use cleaners, right? Thank God it's being recorded. Do not use cleaners on our models, please. Obviously clean all the surfaces around it. but I'd hate for you to damage it and lose some of the paint or some of the other identifiers. So that's a great one. Our rooms are missed every night concern. Our rooms, someone's saying our rooms are missed every night. So it sounds like maybe there's some humidity in there. You know, maybe if, depending on the model or how that is, you know, maybe just reach out to us and we can kind of talk through that. But I would say if there's some humidity in there, I don't think that's gonna be a big thing. Sprayed with chemicals for COVID. Okay, got it. Then depending on what kind of models you have, you know, maybe you look at just covering them up. If you know the rooms are getting swept, you know, and sprayed. But maybe I'll also ask Tim to help me jump in on that. And
Yeah, depending, we would, if it's a bleach type disinfecting, you know, heavily concentrated, that would not be good for the models. So I think covering them up would be a great idea. We published about 2 or 3 months ago kind of our best practice in keeping the models clean and, you know, disinfected, and we can share that as well. But I think covering them is probably the safest course of action.
Perfect. Well, I think unless I have missed anything, I think.
Hey, John, how about
Yeah.
length of the videos? Is there an average?
So what videos? I guess maybe I saw that, but I didn't address it. Are we?
The videos in the content in 3B Smart Anatomy.
Jump in here.
What are the length of those?
Oh, length. Sorry, I thought you were asking me for links. So yeah, I was like, I don't know what I'm sending.
Sorry.
So it really just depends on what you're viewing. Oh, sorry. Let me get back here. I'm in the lectures. I apologize. There are some videos in here. They will be grayed out in some cases because, again, this sits inside Complete Anatomy. So you would most likely want to download them and run them. But honestly, I viewed a number of these. The animation is quite amazing and works quite well, but they're all various lengths. Honestly, you know, 60 seconds, 30 seconds, a minute. I wouldn't expect that anything is going to be, you know, 20 minutes or anything like that. So at least not to my knowledge. Let's just check out the ACL restoration tear. I don't know that you're going to hear any volume. Yeah, 57 seconds, right? So that's really kind of what we're seeing here. So I don't know if you can hear it. Maybe not. So they're, if you can't hear it, I'm guessing you're not for a second. They're going through very specifically in medical terms exactly what happens through the tear and the reconstruction. So great question. Sorry, I did not explore that earlier. But yes, you can jump into the videos and these can absolutely be a part of what you have access to. Everything you're seeing, everything that I'm showing you is my access through a Smart Anatomy. So this would also be available to you. Yes. So take a look. There is a fair amount. Again, some are going to be blacked out, grayed out rather, because they are a part of the full complete anatomy package. But there will be more than enough of the ones that are available to you. And there are plenty of dental sections in here. So I don't know if I, didn't get down there far enough, but we've had some of those folks ask, are there sections for dental? Yes, there are. Root canal therapy, I'm not going to go through it. No one wants to do it in person, so I don't think anyone wants to see it in an animation, but you get the idea, right? So hopefully that helps answer that. I might be out of content here. I think that's about all I have. Nancy?
Okay, I'll take back over here.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that your company's been around for about 80 years. Is that, if you said you'd been doing models since
The 1940s, yeah. Yeah, so it really started, fun fact, the company started because, for anyone who works out of a lab, cadaver lab, cadavers were hard to find in the 40s. And then the original, the company started figuring out a way to make bone-like structures. And then they had a cast from, I believe it's a 5'7" male skeleton, and so that's what they have duplicated their skeletons from since the 40s. And then, throughout the years, we've come up with a number of technologies. We have a huge section for science, a huge section for biology. So, other needs came out in the marketplace. So feel free to understand that we don't just sell just the skeletons. We actually have an entire catalog for physics and engineering. We have a whole catalog for biology. So there's lots of things inside health sciences that we complement and we help out with. We just concentrated obviously today on Smart Anatomy.
Okay, well, we really appreciate you all's willingness to share this information with us. One of our national health science standards is academic foundation, and that's standard 1. And that's where all the anatomy and physiology is covered, as well as diseases and disorders. And so this is a large part of what our teachers are expected to teach and our students are expected to learn. So we really appreciate your resource and sharing this opportunity with us. I will send out, if anyone on the call is interested in a certificate of participation for today to document your professional development, just email me and I'll get those out in about a week. And then we also, if you're interested in the catalog, you can email myself or Tim and we'll get that out to you. And anything closing, Tim or John or anyone on the call have anything to add before we close here?
I just wanted to jump in. This is Tim. Just thank everyone for participating. I don't know who I met when I was in Vegas. It was a long time ago, and it was like the last trip before the world shut down. But I really appreciated the opportunity to be part of the meeting then, and this has been awesome. We appreciate the time and really excited to share this, this remote virtual learning tool, because we know everyone's struggling with, how do we teach in this hybrid world. So thank you, Nancy, and all the attendees for the opportunity. And
there is a question here in closing. Joni had, is there an online catalog or do you physically mail a catalog?
We have both. If you go to 3bscientific.com, that'll pull up our website, and you can search by item, but you can also scroll down on the bottom section of the website. It says free catalog, so you can either order a catalog there, or you can download the digital catalog, or anyone, if you don't want to do that, email me, tim.hemans@a3bs.com, and I'm happy to send you a catalog.
Okay, and someone had asked for my email, Georgette, I think, so I put it there. It's the longest email in America, but there it is for you. And so it's just like our website, but just Nancy at. Remember, if you're going to the conference, to drop in to this exhibitor space and see 3B Scientific will be there. So thank you both so much, and we hope that that many of our health science programs will benefit from this great technology that you have with your company. Thanks, everyone.
Appreciate everyone's time. Thank you so much.
Okay. Have a nice Wednesday, everybody. Goodbye.